Welcome to the Owatonna Today Show, your community connection since 1991. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday, February 10th, and we have a fun and informative show for you today. We're going to be on location, and first we're going to be down at the Owatonna Degner Regional Airport, and we're going to be talking with the manager there, Dave Beaver. And then later on in the show, we'll also be on location talking with our new publisher of the Owatonna People's Press, Julie Frazier. Do you know of somebody in your community who does something special, or do you know of a special event you'd like to see on the show? We'd love to hear from you, and you can contact us by either emailing us at owatonnatoday@charter.net or by contacting Leanne Alt, our producer, at 390-5751. We would love to hear from you. Well, we're going to take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back with Dave Beaver down at the airport. Please stay with us.
I'm Dan Branstead of Carlson Branstead & Company, Certified Public Accountants. We support the Owatonna Today Show.
Owatonna Public Utilities, real people, real reliable, real progress. Making life a little easier day after day, taking pride in our community, listening to what you say, a voice you can talk to. We're growing with you. Owatonna Public Utilities.
Greetings from the Steele County Historical Society. We invite you to visit us and enjoy your county's history at the History Center and Village of Yesteryear. Check our website for current exhibits and monthly programs.
Welcome back to the Owatonna Today Show, your community connection. I'm Linda Karnauskas, and we're here on location at the Owatonna Degner Regional Airport, and we're talking with the airport manager, Dave Beaver. Welcome to the Owatonna Today Show, Dave.
Thank you very much for coming out on a cold day out to the airport. Nice to see you.
We're glad to be here, and what a beautiful facility it is. It really is nice.
Yeah, we're pretty proud of it, and Owatonna is pretty fortunate to have such a nice airport.
Well, Dave, just share a little bit about yourself with us and what you do and how long you've been here, things like that.
Sure. Well, thanks for asking. I've been here at the airport now for 20 years. And ever since I grew up, when I grew up in the Midwest in Rochester, Minnesota, I've had just a passion for flying airplanes and what they do and how airports work is really what I enjoy. Went to the University of North Dakota because I wanted to pursue aviation, and they have just a fantastic program. And through that, I decided, well, was I going to be an airline pilot, or was I going to be involved some other way? The job outlook for airline pilots wasn't great at graduation time, so I decided, stay home in the community, be around something I enjoy and love every day, and try to improve it for the community and raise a family, and that's what I decided to do. And so I get to come out to the airport and see people come and go, and talk to them, and then see the airplanes and enjoy it. And Owatonna's been really lucky over the years to position itself where it is today at this airport.
We're glad to have you, really are. Tell me, with the airport, when was it established exactly?
Yeah, aviation hasn't been around a whole long time. I mean, the Wright brothers was in 1903. I mean, a little over 100 years. This airport, like a lot in Minnesota, started in the mid-40s after World War II. And Glenn Degner started this airport in 1946. At the time, a lot of the GIs were coming home, and there was the GI Bill and people wanting to learn to fly, and how could aviation be used to getting people and mail from one place to the next. So this airport, like about 140 others in the state, was put together by Glenn. And now we are one of 25 key system airports in Minnesota, meaning we have the length of runway and lighting facilities and instrumentation that puts us into that regional category. Mm-hmm. So we're pretty fortunate to have those capabilities.
1946, it started out as an airport, and now it's called a regional airport. Could you shed some light on why we're a regional airport?
Well, like I mentioned, we sort of stand out in the region. There's larger airports like Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Rochester and Duluth. A handful of airports that have that commercial air service, scheduled airline passenger service. Other airports have different size runways and capabilities. Ours is one of the bigger ones in the state. As I mentioned, one of 25, called a key system or regional airport. And so we have those capabilities to kind of serve a wider market than just our own city of Owatonna. And so oftentimes we'll see airplanes fly in that they want to go to Faribault or Dodge Center or even Rochester, and they'll land here. So it doesn't mean anything super magical, but there is a little bit more complicated to it. There's different regulations and things like that.
Well, I want to let our viewers know a big congratulations is in order. You got the master plan approved.
Yes.
And so we definitely want to talk about that. And for those who may not know, what is a master plan?
Yeah, it's a master plan is something that the FAA requires. It's over the years we've been very lucky to get different funding for projects here from the FAA. They've funded almost 90% of the airport improvements through grants, and they say, if we're investing in that facility, we want to make sure you're protecting for future aviation use. So they're required to go through a master planning process, and thankfully they help fund it. It took about 2 years. I was really surprised, and I'm one for physical improvements. And I thought a planning project, I'm not so sure, but it was very, very valuable and rewarding to go through the process. And so you look at what the airport does today, what its inventory is, and how it's going to grow and serve the future of Owatonna.
Now, who was all involved in the master plan?
It's a pretty involved process. I mean, when you take a document, you're trying to put something together that's going to serve the airport for a 5, 10, and 20-year planning period. We hired a consultant to help us do it, which is required by the FAA because there's a lot of technical components to it with zoning and land use restrictions. But the most valuable part to me was the formation of an advisory group, which is made up of city council members, airport commission members, adjacent landowners, county representatives, city representatives, businesses on the airport were involved, and some of our tenants. So getting that group together along with the FAA, our consultant, MnDOT Aeronautics, and the city, we met several times throughout the process, and it really helped guide the decision making. So you go through all that process where you inventory what you have and where you think you're going to need, where your needs are going to be in the future. And in our case, we talked about sort of 4 areas of emphasis. One was a runway extension, one was a building area development, and the rest of it was more business planning and financial component of the master plan process. So,
could you do me a favor? And I think it's fascinating.
Yep.
Would you hold up the master plan and show them 2 years worth of work here? And working with tens of 20 people and to get it all done.
yeah, I mean, and it was very, very helpful to do that. I mean, because when you start looking at what type of aircraft you want to bring into the future, because you may have an employer that moves to town. Right now we have about 17 companies in town that regularly fly their own based aircraft into and out of the airport for business. If you have an employer move to town, say that needs a certain length of runway for an aircraft that they own, well then you want to be able to react to that.
We have a beautiful layout graphic here of the airport. And this reflects some of the changes that the master plan allows, correct?
Yep.
So why don't you step in here and we'll have Leanne zoom in and explain what some of these are.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you do this planning process, you get this big binder here, but you also get what's called an airport layout plan, which sort of depicts all the alternatives that were selected for development. And there's a lot of involvement in there's 4 or 5 different alternatives reviewed for like the runway. To orientate you to this particular drawing, you see I-35, here's the airport. This is I-35 northbound, you can see kind of Cabela's, and this is 26th Street going west to east with the hospital and clinic complex right there. Our existing runway is 5,500 feet with a crosswind runway or secondary runway of 3,000 feet. We thought it was important to protect for up to a 7,000 foot runway, which would allow us to bring in those larger type aircraft that certain employers might use. And that's right here, that's depicted right here.
When you say crosswind runway, what do you mean by that?
Well, when they review our wind coverage, aircraft take off and land into the wind. And so they want us to have a configuration of runways that allows us to meet the prevailing winds 95% of the time. Most of the time it comes from the northwest, so that's why our runway alignment is facing that way, because most of the time people will take off and land into the wind. Sometimes you get that other type of crosswind situation, and that's where you need the secondary runway.
Okay. In this blue line here, this would be a possible extension at some
Right.
point. And so why does that have to be drawn out?
Well, in order to take advantage of federal and state funding programs, you have to have the planning in place, and that's what this was all about. And then, so this runway here, that extension has to be shown on a drawing so that they know that there was planning in place, the zoning is in place, the environmental protection has been done, land acquisition, and all those things. Currently, the airport sits on about 700 acres. So most of the land for that development we already own. There's only about 10 acres needed for that future development.
What is this area here?
Yeah, when we looked at our present building area, meaning hangars, there's about 29 buildings on the airport right now, private hangars, commercial use hangars, T hangars where we keep individual storage of aircraft. That's all right here, right in this quadrant. When this fills up, we wanted to be able to show what next.
Okay.
And we really like this south quadrant alternative because it is inside, if you can pick up that little black line there, it is inside the airport boundary already. So that's already there for future hangar development.
And quickly, now that the master plan is approved, and what would be the first thing that you think would be developed further here?
Well, that's a great question because I don't want your audience to go away thinking, man, they're going to build all this stuff. It's going to cost all these millions of dollars right away.
Okay.
And no, we're not going to do that. First of all, this runway would probably happen first, but that's probably 5, 6, 7 years down the road.
Well, thank you, Dave, for letting us have a good look at the master plan and to share your accomplishments with the community. Thanks again. We're going to take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless gas produced by gas-fired appliances in your home. The state of Minnesota requires that you have a carbon monoxide alarm within 10 feet of sleeping areas in your home. We suggest you have a digital readout carbon monoxide alarm. That way we were able to check and see what the concentration amount was when the alarm went off. This has been a public safety tip from the Owatonna Fire Department.
Hello, I'm Glenn Mager.
And I'm Michael Mager with the Brickmager Funeral Home and the Medford Funeral Home. At Brickmager, we are privileged to have served the families of Steele County community for 118 years.
Whether you choose traditional burial or cremation, we promise the tribute your loved one deserves with the peace of mind that you require.
We are proud to be part of the Owatonna Today Show.
Hi, this is Barry Gillespie, president of ERA Gillespie Real Estate, where our pledge is to save you money, save you time, and simplify your life. And we're proud supporters of the Owatonna Today Show.
Hello, I'm David Einhaus with the Owatonna Foundation. Thank you to all of our donors who have helped make Owatonna a better place to live. Will you join us today with a financial gift? Owatonna Foundation is a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show.
Welcome back to the Owatonna Today Show, your community connection. We're here on location at the Owatonna People's Press, and we're talking with our new publisher, Julie Frazier. Welcome, Julie, to the Owatonna Today Show.
Thank you, Linda. Appreciate it.
We're so glad you're here. So how has your first month been here in Owatonna, okay?
First month's been a little bit crazy. We've had some crazy winter weather, and but overall, really excellent. It's been a warm reception from the community, and and the staff. I'm very pleased.
Oh, we're glad you're here. Tell us a little bit about yourself for those who may not know that much about who you are and where you're from. And
Sure. Well, I'm from a small town in Illinois, Grays Lake, Illinois, and I actually come from a newspaper family. My mother was an editor of a small community newspaper, so I really grew up really appreciating and seeing how important the role of the new community newspaper is.
well, great. And what does it entail being a publisher? You know, they say, oh, we have a publisher, but really there's a lot that goes into it. So if you would.
Well, a publisher is very much like any manager of a company. The publisher oversees the overall operation of the newsroom and advertising and creative departments and circulation. I'm very hands-on. A publisher generally has a lot of input in setting policies, enforcing policies, and engaging with the community and advertisers.
So along your career path, is this the first time you've been a publisher?
No, I was formerly the publisher in Waseca, at the Waseca County News, which is our sister paper, for about 16 years.
Okay. And is the Owatonna People's Press a bigger circulated paper for you?
Yes, it is.
So it's definitely
It
been
is.
an up. You're definitely coming to more challenges.
Absolutely.
And what prepared you for that? In all these years, your different experiences, what has prepared you to be a publisher?
Well, actually, my biggest growth area as a publisher really was in Waseca. My first day on the job was the day that the 12-year-old Callie Jo Larson murder happened, which was,
Wow.
you know, a very tragic experience. But for a publisher coming in on first day on the job, it was really prepared me. The experience of that really prepared me for anything that the community, anything that would happen. We also in Waseca had a string of tragedies and also just big news events. We had the Enron's Jeffrey Skilling came to the local federal prison there. So that was a big national news coverage. We had the Powerball winners, if you remember. So that again drew a lot of national attention. So the experience of dealing with the metro media coming down to a small community and just really being able to handle sensitive news stories, local news stories in a small community really prepared me well for this job.
So if we took a couple steps back from when you were a publisher, what did those steps include to get you to where you came on as a publisher eventually?
Well, my background is really on the advertising side, on the revenue side, but just really interacting, having those experiences all through several newspaper positions, and also really just jumping in and using my background as an English major for writing, so I would write columns. So I think having maybe instincts, natural instincts on the news side really prepared me well for actually understanding what the news side of the business is about.
So you also were a part of Adams Publishing Group, or the Adams
That's our parent company.
Yes, and I was just going to ask, what does that have to do, and how does it relate to the Owatonna People's Press? So for those that may not know.
Adams Publishing Group, it's a family company, and they're actually based out of St. Louis Park, Minnesota. They own the company. Generally speaking, the decisions for operations in that is handled locally here. Owatonna is part of a group of newspapers in this region.
And so, what was your motivation to come on over?
Well, having lived in, I've shopped in Owatonna, I've worked in Owatonna over, the 17 years that I've been in southern Minnesota, and I love Owatonna. Owatonna is vibrant, it's growing. That is the type of environment, both to live and work, that I want to be in. So I've had my eye on Owatonna for quite a while. So.
And so we looked at Owatonna. I think it's a great little town also. But what motivated you to want to come and work at the Owatonna People's Press?
Well, really, again, besides I would say the market, and also a larger operation, the larger setting and of the actual newspaper.
New challenge, little bigger challenge there.
Yep.
And what would you like to achieve while you're here? What are some of your goals?
My goals for the Owatonna People's Press would be a couple, really to grow audience through multiple channels, whether it be through our print, our social media audiences, our local online, really just to grow audience, and also to just continue to be relevant to our advertisers, relevant in our content to our readers.
Okay, great. And then one topic in technology, digital. For those of us we hear it everywhere, and for those of us who may not know exactly what all digital encompasses, and you were over the division of digital.
I still am.
And you still are. So explain digital and how that applies to the newspaper.
Well, digital really just means electronic. In terms of our business, which primarily is advertising and news, electronic really refers to the delivery and the communication vehicle. Okay. Not so much the content, but the way it's delivered. So that's really what electronic is. And it's really important because that's a way that consumers are changing, that they're consuming more news and advertising and getting their information through technology. So we have to be there.
And you're familiar with it, so you're up to the challenge of taking it wherever it goes in the digital process?
Yes.
Well, that's great. One question I really want to ask you as well, and this is about the policy for some things in the newspaper. When we go online and we comment on a article, we can use a pseudonym and stay somewhat anonymous. But when you write into the newspaper and you write a letter and you have to have your name, address, phone number, that type of thing, why are there two different policies?
Well, actually, as of December, with the launch of our new websites, you will see that the only way you can comment online on our stories is to have a Facebook page, which will identify you. So we have changed that policy. And in print, really, we ask for the writer's address and contact information just to verify the authenticity of the letter writer, but also if we need to ask them to edit or clarify something.
Okay, so really...
So we are consistent now. That has changed.
So you want to help them publish, but in order to do that, if something's not right, you want to at least contact them to see if we can get it on the straight and narrow or get it turned around or whatever.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Now, I had another question for you. What are the rewards for you as publisher?
I think the rewards for me as a publisher would be really being in part of a team and an entity that can bring important issues to the public and bring that for community conversation. We have the opportunity to sway public opinion for the good of the community. You know, if there's a big project coming into town that we can help to bring here. So those are really for the community good and also for that community conversation to me is very rewarding.
And now for the big question, really quick here, but I just wondered, what is your dream newspaper?
My dream newspaper. Really, my dream newspaper is to be the go-to, must-have gathering spot for Owatonna. Regardless of age or interest, I would like to have this entity, this newspaper, regardless of whether it's online or through social media or print, really be the go-to place. And I really think we're off to a great start. And I hope to realize that dream.
And we're we're glad you're here, and we've enjoyed.
Thank you so much.
Hearing. Is there anything else you'd like the viewers to know briefly before we go?
I think you've covered it, Linda.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure
Appreciate that.
meeting you, and we wish you well in your career here in
Thank you.
Owatonna. Julie Frazier, our publisher at the Owatonna People's Press, to our viewers, welcome. And we're going to take a quick break to hear a short word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. So please stay with us.
Amy Swain Hearing Centers is a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show. I'm Dr. Amy Swain, and I want everyone to hear better.
I'm Deb Gillard. And I'm Shaw McNulty with Brookdale Owatonna Assisted Living and Memory Care,
where we provide optimum living activities to keep our residents engaged in life.
and we are a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show.
Welcome back to the Owatonna Today Show, your community connection, and it's that time to read all about our community announcements. Steele County Safety Council will be meeting Wednesday, February 10th. Drugs we take and how it affects us at work and home is the theme. It'll be Wednesday, February 10th, and they'll be offering a lunch. It'll be $8, and it'll be meeting down at the Eagle Club on Rose Street in Owatonna. And the 11:30 to 12 will be the lunch buffet, and 12 noon to 1 will be the presentation. So you'll want to try and make that. Come and enjoy an evening of fun. Adult Valentine dinner at Little Missile Church, Saturday, February 13th. Social hour at 5:50 p.m. and dinner at 6:30 p.m. Serving Windsor chopped dinner, and there will be door prizes, entertainment, and fun. All adults, singles, and couples are welcome. Tickets are $20 and must be purchased by Sunday, February 7th. No tickets will be available at the door. Tickets are available at Holman Insurance Agency in Blooming Prairie and Sacred Heart Church, Owatonna, during office hours. Little Theater of Owatonna announces its winter play, Harvey. Harvey was adapted into the iconic film in 1950 starring James Stewart. This production was originally performed at LTO in 1972. Production dates are February 19th, 20th, 25th, 26th, 27th at 7:30 p.m. Matinees on February 21st at 2 p.m. And show tickets are available at the littletheaterofowatonna.org or at the LTO box office beginning February 15th. Well, that's it for announcements today and our show. Please join us on Friday when we will be down at the Around the World Food and Beer Fest talking with Mike Jensen. You won't want to miss that show. In the meantime, have a great day, and we'll see you on Friday.